from Tennessee to northwest Mississippi that is so low that it is impossible for barges to deliver their products to the markets. The measurements from the river gauge taken in Memphis indicate that the water level is down almost 7 feet, which is now among the lowest on record. The lowest level recorded on the river was on July 11th of 1988, when it was down by 10.73 feet. Just a few days ago, the New Madrid seismic zone registered 3 earthquakes within 10 hours of one another, which poses the question of whether the seismic zone activity is somehow causing the river levels to rescind. Or could it be some other natural cause, such as a severe drought, that has occurred in the Central Valley region? If the water level is dropping, as river gauges are indicating, then something out of the ordinary has occurred that could possibly explain this strange occurrence. It is very possible that the recent earthquakes near the seismic zone are creating stress on the fault, thus allowing the ground to temporarily move upwards as it attempts to adjust itself to the movements being registered along the zone. The heaving of the land was actually noted between December of 1811 and March of 1812, when the last major adjustment of the New Madrid occurred. During this time, a series of powerful earthquakes near Missouri created what is called a fluvial tsunami in the Mississippi River, where the water actually flowed backwards for several hours. The earthquakes of this time period caused a number of fissures to open in the Earth's surface, snapping trees in half, causing the leakage of sulfur from underground pockets, river banks to vanish, and whirlpools developed suddenly in the Mississippi River from a number of. What makes this story so important is that the Mississippi is vital to the economy of the United States. If the river barge traffic came to a slowdown or a complete shutdown, then the distribution of vital supplies such as grain, petroleum, and coal would be seriously jeopardized, since inland waterways carry 60% of grain exports, 22% of domestic petroleum, and 20% of coal that is used to generate electricity. To no one's surprise, the media hasn't said much about this recent event, instead devoting much of their attention to the Las Vegas shooting tragedy, the Puerto Rico humanitarian crisis, and the nation's political discourse. Still, there are some strange and bizarre earth changes that are happening before our very eyes that deserve our attention, and especially that of the media. The Pacific Ring of Fire is rumbling, with a series of high-level volcanic and seismic events that are very worrisome. A new report out of Los Angeles indicates that California is on the cusp of a major seismic event, which, coupled with the strong activity in the New Madrid region, poses serious consequences for millions of people that live in these areas. According to the most recent seismic track, a series of small earthquakes struck the New Madrid region within the last 3 weeks, with 2 of the largest quakes coming within the past week. What is so unique about these most recent quakes is that they are all happening in the same area where portions of the Mississippi River are disappearing, according to initial reports from early October. Is this just a coincidence? Or just maybe the water is seeping into cracks in the surface of the earth as a result of the reawakening of the New Madrid fault? It happened in Yosemite Park, where a large portion of El Capitan broke loose. Could this be a precursor to a West Coast quake coming soon? The 8.1 quake that struck Mexico in early September sent shock waves across America for several hours following the event. This map from the USGS shows that the entire West Coast, as well as the New Madrid region, are hotspots for earthquakes in the United States. As shown in this graph, the earthquake of 1895 was experienced across 8 states as shown in the red, and was felt as far north as Wisconsin and as far south as Louisiana. On September 21st, Time published an article posing the question of whether the United States is overdue for a catastrophic earthquake. And although experts admit that they do not know when the next disastrous quake will strike, we know that listening to alternative earthquake indicators, such as the popular channel DutchSense, are providing an accurate point of view that has been documented many times over, irrespective of the mainstream media's point of view regarding earthquake early warning signs. You may remember this event, which the Associated Press called a 1-in-1,000-year event, an event that garnered only limited attention from the cable news media. But in late April and early May of this year, historic floods inundated a number of states along the Mississippi.
So we got like major emergency flash flooding in 5 states. I think we got rivers 10 feet past record levels and climbing. And because it is happening in rice, cake, and corn states like Missouri, Arkansas, Indiana, Oklahoma, Illinois, Louisiana, it ain't getting no press, and not many people care. A lot of people don't know.
This is from April 25th, and notice all the greenery. I want you to focus in.
That area just expand. Look at all that. Down here, Pocahontas, where we had the levee breach, Poplar Bluff. Look at all that blue. That all just fills in. Check out this on Highway 21. This is what it looks like normally. And let's go ahead and advance and show you the third round of rain that we're dealing with. And over the last 2 weeks,
more rain is in the forecast. We've been looking at it all week long. Now, some of these places in the flood zones, we're starting to see levee breaches, numerous ones we had yesterday. They're looking at 10+ inches of rain over the past 7 days. Over 100 river gauges have flooded along the Mississippi, Missouri, and Arkansas rivers.
This is the area that will continue to have problems with flooding. And I do want to make a note. The major rivers such as the Missouri and the Mississippi, we're going to continue to have flooding along those rivers for weeks to come.
5 months following the historic river flooding, the most recent charts indicate a dramatic shift in water levels. And so we are left wondering where all the water has gone. According to USGS reports, the Earth's plumbing systems have been known to be affected by earthquakes, at least for a number of decades. Therefore, regardless of whether you live near the San Andreas or the New Madrid Fault, or even in locations far from any known faults, the water resources that you depend upon will be affected by earthquake activity. In July, Newsweek reported that the sun was becoming quiet. But to the contrary, this video from the Solar Dynamics Observatory is showing that the sun is displaying some very strange behavior, which could be playing havoc on the magnitude and intensity of earthquakes at this time. Explained has to do with the receding of the sea in South America. This phenomenon has been ongoing in this region of the world since early August. Earlier incidents of the sea retreat were being blamed on huge Atlantic storms sucking the waters from the ocean, as this image from Tampa Bay is suggesting. However, this latest incident of anomalous tides, which occurred on October 7th in Carituba, is now being blamed on a harvest moon. With all of the conjecture about the causes of the anomalous tidal retreat, what will be their excuse on the next occasion of this strange event, and their reasoning for the dramatic changes that are happening in this and other regions of the world? Let's look back at this strange phenomenon from the time when it first was observed until the most recent occurrence on October 7th, from this video compilation of the anomalous sea retreat. There are warning signs of tremendous earth changes ahead, changes that we should be preparing for each and every day that is given to us. We have long been warned through scriptural text and through scientifically proven studies that our planet will again experience major upheaval as it did in our distant past. So now is the time to get serious and acknowledge that it is no longer a question of if these events will happen, but when they will happen, and what we can do now to assure ourselves that we will not be caught off guard by these events.